Hey guys, Stephen and Gavin here for the Life Skills Academy. We are using this recording now for the next 15 minutes to kind of wrap up our series on confidence, I suppose. Now, the other two videos that we have done, they're in the feed, so if you need them, reference them absolutely. We're going to be wrapping up confidence, and we're going to be touching on things, values, traps, and consequences, and then looking at a little bit on pathways as well on that. So just, Gav, just I suppose let's make it as efficient as we can here. 15 minutes. Um,
Okay,
I'll cut
do
you
the best.
short if I catch a random. I'll be cutting you short.
As only
Um,
you can do.
but I suppose like let's get, as I said, factual, straight facts. What's a fundamental nugget of information, and maybe in a sentence for what like people like what is confidence? I suppose.
So let's just, in terms of how we've been speaking about it, in a nutshell, the one thing people, it would be lovely for people to really to integrate is confidence is stored in one's highest value. In a nutshell, if that resonates, confidence is not something that we don't have and we need to import. It resides in every human being's slice of their highest value. So
Sorry, did you say values as in like we've all heard kind of values in different kind of areas and like why are these values that we're speaking about, why are they different?
So these values are completely different than we might hear in the kind of the corporate world or what we've heard about, like, maybe in normal speak. These values come from the study of axiology, which is the study of worth, study of value and worth, how humans value and put a value on things. And this values have been understood by the ancient Greeks, and they understood that the highest value, they even named it, they named it the telos, which meant the end in mind, the telos. And they were so fascinated by the telos and by this concept, they created a study of teleology, which is the study of meaning and purpose. So it's been around a long time. It's not something that's just been created yesterday. And to just go a little further on that, values are they're a neurological, they affect us neurologically. What that means is that values, as we said, values come from our voids. So when we have a very meaningful void, something that we think is highly missing in our life. So, for example, maybe as well, if a relationship is highly missing in our life, we may, what happens if it's, oh, I'm really missing a relationship, that will create a value. So
You're saying
these
so
void,
the void creates value in the mind. Is that what you're saying?
a meaningful void creates a meaningful value.
Okay.
And then these effectively are they're directional for the brain, meaning that the brain chases the fulfillment of these highest voids and creates a value. So it deems things it deems things that are high value important. It wants to import it into the mind. And when we do it, we get fulfillment of the value and we feel fulfillment. Just to go one step further on it, there a piece of the brain called the pulvinar nuclei is responsible as the gatekeeper. So if you want to say it's the hardware that the software effectively controls. So take, for example, let's just say, very general. Let's just say a mom who's just had a first baby, and she might be walking down the mall. Her highest value at that moment may very well be, the child, the well-being of the child, the development of the child. So if she walks down the supermarket, her her pulmonary nuclei is going to filter out all of the, let's call it, sports stores or, you know, whatever other stuff, and she's going to hone in on baby on stuff that's related to the baby. So it's literally a gateway. Our brain is literally it's gated. We filter that which is highest value through the pulmonary nuclei. If that makes sense. I
Yeah.
know that's a little bit,
Kind of,
but I'm just
yeah.
trying to show that it's a real thing, and it's a real functioning of the mind.
Yeah, because
Or
that is kind of heavy and weighted, you kind of sound a bit like a brain surgeon, and I can like it, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now there's value to that. But are these random? I suppose these values, are they random? Can you choose them? Are you attracted to them? What like
No,
yeah,
you can't. So let me answer that first. No, you can't suddenly decide, I want to value the gym. Even if if you've showed no interest in, or I want to value having wealth building. That's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like nearly, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, but your value is basically, as we've mentioned there, it comes from a void that you've experienced throughout your youth. So as you've kind of developed, it's as we said, so no, you effectively no, you can't just choose one.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a little nuance in what I'm saying there, but to effectively say no, you can't just choose one. You can't
Mm.
just say I would like this to be my value.
Right. That's good to know. So it's like something that is within you that you're attracted to, it's kind of in your near natural state.
Exactly. And again, just to try and make it very simple, it comes from the individual's perception of what was most meaningfully missing in their life, in their perception.
Okay.
So you may see something may be missing in your life, but you may go, oh, you wouldn't even maybe notice it. But I may live your life and go, oh my God, that's missing. I need that's really important to me. And it stems from, let's say, when you're literally comes from out of the womb, we have a value system, and that value system evolves, and we fulfill them. We move on to a void that's missing. And I think if people kind of look at their lives and look at the things that they love most in their life, they'll see that it stems from like a meaningful void. Just very quick, if I give an example, I was working with a mother there a couple of months ago, and she was big into one of the things we discovered. She was big into personal development. And we went, okay, well, what's the void that was fulfilling? And we dug, so it was personal development for the sake of what? And as we followed, it turns out that she was bullied as a youth, but also bullied in the workplace in her perception. So that void of, I suppose, feeling uncertain and not sure of herself created the value of, I need to fulfill this. I need to fit. So it's just an
Personal
interest.
development.
I think it's a
Yeah.
very direct connection with the void and the value.
But see the way you're saying that direct connection there, that would be, as you said, it's a void for that individual. Say that's what they followed. They got they got a lot of kind of a strong identity from that. What, but people can fall into traps. You mentioned things like New Year's
Yeah.
resolutions before, like I want to be good at the gym. I want to whatever. What are the traps? Crystal clear again. Let's have a sentence here. What are the traps that people fall into when they think that they're finding their highest value, or they think that they're doing
The biggest trap, let's say, in confidence, tied back
it?
to,
Yeah.
yeah. So the biggest trap, in a nutshell, we said at the very beginning, confidence stored in your highest value. So the biggest trap we as people fall into is that we don't know what our highest value is, and then what we do is we try to live according to someone else's highest value. So we go through education systems because, we weren't taught in school about this.
Yeah.
So our parents didn't know about it, our schools don't know about it. But effectively the child thinks, oh, this is what I should be. This is what should be important to me. Let's just say it should be maths, or learning should be important to me,
Yeah.
or does that make sense? So
Yeah, or if you
living
ever would it come within your family as well? My brother is this, I need to do this, or my sister is this, I need to do this. Could it come with family dynamics as well?
oh, absolutely, any authority figure that the child has in their life,
Mm.
the biggest trap is that that child injects the authority figure's value system into them. They call that as the super id, or the id, but it's effectively thinking that that's what should be important to me.
Okay.
It's the critical voice that we experience.
Mm. And then what are so again consequences then of living to like let things that are lesser meaningful to you? What are these consequences if you live towards say another person's say highest value or what they perceive to be?
Okay, so there's a lot of consequence, but again, let's keep it in a nutshell. The one of the biggest consequences is that you decrease massively the probability of achievement in one's, or expansion into one's potential. I'm going to say achievement, but I don't mean that, oh, achievement makes everything great. But what I mean is that, so we decrease the probability of achievement. Why? Because we are not disciplined, reliable, and focused in our lower values. We are in our higher values. So if
Okay.
we're not disciplined, reliable, and focused, therefore, logically, we can't experience as much achievement or expansion in a particular area.
Okay.
If we don't if we don't have that, because we hesitate, frustrate, and procrastinate in our lower values. So if you follow that logic, Steve, then the consequence is that our self-confidence, we reduce the probability of experiencing high degrees of self-confidence, because self-confidence means con is with and feelings is trust. So if we're hesitant, we're frustrated, and we procrastinate in this area, we don't necessarily progress in the area, and then we begin to doubt ourselves. We don't trust ourselves in the area. And then we move to self-belief. Because we don't move forward that much in a particular area, we never notice we have these abilities that are, resilience and, oh, I can do that. Or if I just, so our self-belief reduces in the area and go, I don't know if I can do that. I keep quitting. And then finally, self-worth. Self-worth is obviously if we feel that how we spend our time has no worth, or there's no reason, why am I doing this? Then we feel that how we spend our time, there's no real worth to it. So therefore, our self-worth moves down because we don't feel that we're delivering value in the area. So I suppose, in a nutshell, that is the biggest consequence of living according to an authority figures or someone else's value system or priority
And
system.
because when you're in that area, we spoke about it before, but you're more resilient in that area. You're more likely to experience challenges, but be able to overcome them and things like that in the area of your highest values.
Absolutely. So it's not that you're going to have an easier life.
Yeah.
It's you're going to have a more meaningful and fulfilling life. And in the area of that highest value, you embrace pains and pleasures in the pursuit of your purpose. And what that doesn't sound nice, what actually happens there is, and stop me, Steve, if I'm going too much in this, is that when we move into our highest values, literally the blood, glucose, and oxygen moves to the prefrontal areas of a brain, and literally the prefrontal areas of the brain, when we encounter a challenge, will shut down through GABA and glutamate the amygdala. It will shut it off. It will turn it down. The amygdala will want to run away from the challenge, and it'll say, It'll turn it down, he'd say, and it will allow us to move through that area. And if I could give you a very quick example on it, Steve, it's take a simple example of if you're ever doing something that you're really highly engaged in, you can hold going to the toilet for hours. You might even notice it.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something, let's say studying something that has no meaning to you, or that you're doing something you need to go to, you take any excuse to go to the toilet. Or again, same with a chocolate bar. If you're doing something that's highly meaningful to you and I offer you a chocolate bar, you probably wouldn't go, no, I don't even want that.
Yeah.
But the minute you're doing something that's low on your priority list, that don't see meaning in, someone offers a chocolate bar and you have an immediate impulse to pleasure, a distraction. So
Yes.
you have an impulse to pleasure in the moment to move you away from what you're doing, you have an instinct away from pain in the moment to move you away from what you perceive as painful.
Okay. But within that highest values, you're getting that stuff from the actual activity itself.
Within the highest value, it's
Yeah.
meaningful, it's purposeful. So your brain is here, so you move through, you embrace the pains and the pleasures in the pursuit of your purpose. Whereas in the lower values, you're distracted by pains and pleasures in the moment, and so you
Okay.
can never stay with it.
I suppose there's pathways to confidence and that kind of stuff. Can you give us a crystal clear kind of pathway, um, just for parents who are listening to this who want to kind of confident child or even to bring
Yeah.
it out themselves? Just crystal clear sentence, maybe two. I might give you two.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, in order to build this foundational level of certainty, of self-confidence, of self-belief, of self-worth, this foundational level, one must know their highest value, know what's their highest priority, know what's important to them. The parent must understand, well, let's just say for ourselves, but let's just say a parent with a teenager, with a child, the parent must understand that what the child, their highest values, their highest priorities, then they must be able to root their child in that highest value. So the child kind of goes, oh, this is what's most inspiring to me. This is where I'm disciplined and reliable, focused. This is where I'm a leader. This is where my memory is unbelievable and I can concentrate and I can focus. This is where I have high levels of self-worth. And the child goes, oh, I see it. This is where I'm a Ferrari, if you remember from our first video.
Yeah.
Okay. Once we have, once we have that, sorry, once we're rooted in the highest value, then the job of the mom and dad is to organize the child's life in the child's perception around their highest value. So whatever they do, they can see that whatever they're doing is, yeah, this is highly meaningful to me. So it's we organize our own life, we organize our child lives, our teenager's life around their highest value. Now that people may listen kind of go, well, that sounds great, that sounds really easy, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's other stuff we need them to do that, like, that's not inspiring. And this comes to the last bit. So anything that we do, or that our children or our teenagers do, that they perceive as no meaning in, which is plenty, the only way that they're going to feel intrinsically motivated about that particular thing and want to do it and have discipline, reliable, and focus in that area is if we create, the parents, if we can't see it, they can't see it, if we create links from that particular objective, whatever it is, let's say it's the homework, the maths, the whatever we want them to do, directly, so the brain sees 30 to 40 meaningful connections as how this thing I'm doing is serving me, helping me, benefiting me in my highest value.
Mm.
Once the brain makes that connection between the thing we're doing and the highest value, it instantly moves up. And I'll just give you a simple example on this as well. We
A
see
lot
in
in
everyday
that
life.
now. I tell you, I'd say
Say that again?
there's a lot in that. And I know you just said you're giving a quick example, but there actually wouldn't be time in the 15 minutes we have here. I tell you, but
No, and what we say about it, it's simple, but it's not easy.
yeah,
So what we're giving you is the understanding of how to do it. But like anything, like keeping kids away from sugar, it's not straightforward. There's so parenting, like this is not easy even for ourselves, but here's the framework that does it. This is how your mind works.
mm,
So the simple example I was going to give to people would see in their ordinary day life is that, we've, myself and yourself were married, what was it, 10 years ago. So we've gone through this whole period. So what you normally see is that maybe some people, they have no interest in the gym, right? And then the big day comes and suddenly, for some people, you know what I mean, looking really good and fit and et cetera, and the wedding picture becomes really important. Suddenly the brain makes a connection between the gym, the highest value at the time, which may be, the wedding, et cetera, and suddenly it becomes inspiring or inspirational or meaningful to go to the gym. And
mm,
suddenly there's a big drive and a motivation to go to the gym. When
yeah,
that day is over, the connection is gone, the gym moves down again on the lower priority, and they find
yeah.
it very difficult to go. It's a simple example. You see it every day, but
Mm.
that is a kind of that is just an example of how it works I suppose, in real life.
I feel we've wrapped up well. There, it's again we have videos there on our stream on the feed there. And again, any questions or feedback, please. We've taken a bit on for this video itself as well, so we are still welcome to feedback. We are still learning how to deliver these things, so all feedback is appreciated. Any
Absolutely.
last
And
words,
just,
Rob?
yeah, just again, like we've said always, if don't believe anything that we say unless you can see it. Oh, that's how my life works. That's how I work. So I would say any questions kind of going, that doesn't make sense to me. Please don't leave it sit there. That doesn't make sense. Come a private DM like a lot of people have been doing.
Yeah.
Stick it in the chat and go, this doesn't make sense to me. How do you, if there'll be a paradox, man, how do we reconcile this? Love to answer those questions.
And on the DMs, if anyone wants anything covered, I know we've got a touched on confidence there. For one other topics covered, pop it in the DMs. We'll come up with more recordings, and yeah, we look forward to working with you again. All right,
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks so
hey
much for
guys,
listening.
thanks a lot.